Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whenever you're watching this. My name is Darren, and today I will be talking about the connection and disconnection. Have you ever thought to yourself, if the pandemic ended, what would happen to our social life, daily life, health, mental health, and so much more? Well, during the pandemic, our social life, in terms of communicating, has been limited to technology, such as texting, social media, and from time to time, Zoom or Google Meet. Well, technology has been so helpful, don't get me wrong, but at this point in our life, it is basically what we do every single day. And it just feels different, to use technology as our only form of communicating. And everything right now is technology based, like school, um, and then competitions such as these, and communicating with friends. Everything is using technology. Well, how do you think we can recover in terms of our social life after living in the age of technology to go back to reality and socialize with real people again and be a part of a real community? Well, I don't know if it's just me though, but hypothetically speaking, we all have been through some awkward phase or stage with some of our friendships, and probably even going back to society and actually socializing. Isn't that bad? Because we've been through worse with that awkward phase. And even though we haven't spoken to them in person, like I said, it might not be that awkward because we have not totally lost all contact with them. We have still stayed in touch and have not fully abandoned them. Well, the truth is that we have only spoken through technology during this pandemic, and through technology, there is always going to be a misunderstanding. And either party, not just in one party, sometimes in both party, there is going to be a misunderstanding just because the lack of body language, connection, or feeling and vibe. The feeling and the vibe is just not there. Well, sometimes it is more about the lack of connection than it is going to be about being everything being awkward again when you meet in person. It's about the lack of connection that we lost between each other. But when you just talk to each other through text, sometimes, like I said, the connection just isn't there. And the emotion, it's just not the same or even there anymore. Well, this feeling is something I call disconnected. The feeling of being disconnected and you feel like you don't know who that person is anymore is a case that I will solve today. Well, disconnected in the Oxford Dictionary means lacking contact with reality. If you haven't realized, that is what we've been going through this whole past year. We have basically been living in our own world with barely any contact or any sort of connection with anyone else, probably other than our family or friends that we have met in person, but not consistently, not every day. Well, how do we reconnect after all that has happened? How do we have that same connection, but the connection that we seek is no longer there? Well, rebuilding that connection will need our commitment to be able to do so. It will take you the will to rebuild that bond or connection. You can start by opening up a conversation and talk about things that you both like and give it time. Time heals. Patience is key during this process of rebuilding. You don't want to rush things and mess things up too early. And something about giving it time just makes them trust you more and makes you trust them more. And that connection that you really seek, sooner or later, it'll be there with the amount of time that you give it, the amount of commitment that you give. And when there's a will, there's a way. With the pandemic affecting most of our relationships, reconnecting is the first step to restore the connection that you have. But what you always have to prioritize is to take the first step Don't be afraid to slip, because it will always be better than to wonder what if. It is always better to try and take the first step and not to be afraid of failing than to wonder what your whole entire life. What if? Don't wonder. Just do. Besides that, connections that you make in life will always be forever cherished in your life, even though if things end badly. Just remember that the good memories will always outweigh the bad ones by a mile away, by so much. And Tom Ford even once said, the most important things in life are the connections you make with others. A connection is something that you and the other person will remember your whole entire life. So, don't lose it. Embrace it.